10 News received an invitation to see something only law enforcement ever gets to see in person, the inside of a drug tunnel. American authorities rarely allow media access, but we were given a personal escort by the Mexican military to see the most recent drug tunnel discovered and seized before it was ever finished. A very sophisticated tunnel demonstrating the links cartels will go to get drugs into this country. Our story begins here in the Otay warehouse district of Tijuana, an unsuspecting building just like hundreds of others in this bustling business park. But this one held a deep secret for months. A drug tunnel, almost 4 football fields long with sophisticated engineering. An elevator, electricity, ventilation, and a rail system. It could have generated millions for the cartel building it, but it was shut down before it ever reached its destination. The warehouse tunnel was just blocks from the U.S. border. Jorge Nieto, a Tijuana reporter, shows us just how close. So the wall is right there.
Yeah, the brown one.
So there's a very good chance they go right up under the wall and reach another warehouse on the U.S. side.
Yeah.
Inside, the warehouse still looks very much like it did the day of the seizure. Hundreds of bags filled with dirt from the excavation of the tunnel. Near the front of the building, down a flight of stairs, a small closet. Inside was the elevator shaft, almost 40 feet deep. We had to be lowered down with a harness because the elevator is now broken. We were told we would have less than 30 minutes with our cameras because of the heat, humidity, and lack of air. So we've just come down what was the elevator shaft. We had to be lowered about 12 meters. They tell us that the tunnel here runs about 300 meters in the direction of the U.S. border. They never knew where it was going to come up on the other side. As soon as you get out of the shaft, you can feel the humidity. Without any type of ventilation, you can't imagine what the workers here were put through, filling hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these bags with this dirt. Take it, haul it out, start all over again. The tunnel was so new, the workers only had time to reinforce the first 15 feet of wall with plywood and 2x4s, just wide enough for a motorized rail system that would haul the bags of dirt and eventually the drugs through the tunnel. The only light we have is from small flashlights in our camera light. The walls are covered with partially exposed rocks. As we go further, deeper and deeper into the tunnel, it seems to just get smaller and smaller and hotter. The labor must have been intensive and incredibly claustrophobic. The tunnel was unfinished and the military has no idea where the exit was targeted. A total of 17 people were arrested that day and the warehouse was shut down. The persons or cartel responsible for funding the construction of the tunnel are still unknown to this day. As for the laborers, the Mexican military has an idea where some of those workers and their supplies came from. You can see that in a web-only exclusive right now on 10news.com.
Okay, so no light except for what you brought. Cramped, limited air. Did it make you nervous at all being down there?
You know, Pat asked me if I was scared. That's the one thing that struck me most more than anything else was that claustrophobic feeling. Imagine a tiny little steam room and you're crawling 300 yards into it. So after a while, the tunnel begins to narrow and that claustrophobic feeling begins to take over. That's about the point where I turned around and said, you know what? The end of this, there's just going to be a wall. Yeah. The ceiling is linking. Yeah. This thing could cave in at any moment.
And so that's when you got out.
That's when we got out.
All right.
Interesting.
Thank you, Steve. Interesting look.